Told you guys I got my Sweet Tart Mango Tree. I'm going to plant it here for you. And I want to highlight this Japanese weeding tool that I got off of Amazon. It makes weeding a breeze. I just love slicing that blade through the ground. It pulls everything up by the roots and it's easy to just shake everything out and pull out all the plants. Now I've seen and heard a lot of advice where people say don't add compost when you're planting your new mango tree. Don't add fertilizer when you're planting your new mango tree. I'm going to tell you right now I added both, and this is how I've always planted all of my fruit trees. I'm showing you what works well for me, not necessarily what's going to work well for you. The only caveat may be that I'm not adding all this compost and fertilizer directly to the planting hole, but I'm incorporating it in with the native soil. My go-to is Simple Garden Happy Life compost plus cow manure, or as I like to call it, Ninja Cow, because the cow on the bag looks like a ninja. I use this product all throughout my garden, and in fact when I have a new raised garden bed, the majority of the garden gets filled up with this. If it looks like I'm a little weak right now, it's because I am. Guys, I'm doing this and I have a cold. I realized that I forgot to show the fertilizer that I use, so I'm just going to tell you guys right now. It's Espoma Citrus Tone. It's what I use exclusively on all my fruit trees and throughout my garden beds. But what better way to beat your cold than to get outside and plant a tree? So I'm using my metal rake here to incorporate all the compost into the native soil, and you see me going around in a circle over and over again, and I have it angled slightly to where the middle is more elevated than the edges. You're trying to make a mound. And to quote Pete Corensis, you need to always plant your fruit trees high and tight, meaning that you can't plant them too deep. Planting a fruit tree too deep is a guaranteed death for the plant. Plant them high because things settle over time. Planting initially at ground level carries the risk of the tree settling too deep and killing the tree over time. I think tight just means to do everything you can to minimize air pockets, because air pockets will contribute to the settling. It's definitely worth it to be meticulous in the planting process, because generally you only get one shot at this, and if you mess it up, you have to recognize it in time to dig up the tree and replant it. And water, water, water. I can't say this enough. Adding water at every stage or development of your planting is going to contribute hugely to your success. Adding all the water really helps to remove those air pockets I was telling you about, and it also helps the tree to settle in nicely as it's being put into a hospitable environment. This is being recorded at 3 times speed, so you can just imagine how much water I'm using. And yes, I'm a little OCD, so you see me cleaning off the bricks all the time because I just can't stand them to be dirty while I'm working, even though it's crazy because I'm working with dirt. So what else would I expect? And please, please be careful getting your tree out of the pot. You know, I'm like a little aggressive here, wiggling it and pulling it straight by the trunk, but you guys, it was really loose. I've done this 1,000 times in the past. I kind of know what I'm doing by taking the trees out of the pot. But if you're new to it, just be really gentle and really careful. I'm using the pot to determine where I want to place the tree within this ring, and I'm putting it down here and wiggling it into place so I know where to dig it out with my shovel. And then as I walk away and grab my shovel, I turn around and I look and I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely not centered at all, which is fine. Like I said, be meticulous when planting your tree. This is your one shot at getting it right, so just reposition it. Use the pot to collect all that dirt that you're digging out. You're going to want that later. And what did I say? Water, water, water. I can't emphasize this enough. If you think you've added enough water, maybe just add a little bit more. Evaluate your tree and decide which orientation or which direction you want the branches to face. Also take the time to level out the trunk. You don't want the trunk to be placed at such an angle when you initially plant it. Of course, a tree can self-correct, but why make it go through that when you can just correct it from the beginning? And remember what I told you before, you want to be planting high and tight, so take a little walk around and make sure that the root flare is still visible. You can see here I didn't like the angle of the trunk, so I'm just straightening it out. Next, you want to grab that soil that you had saved from digging the hole and give it back. You want to put it around the tree so you're filling in the gaps between the root ball and the hole that you dug. Go ahead and grab your metal rake again. You're going to be using this rake to push all the soil up against the root ball to fill in the gap. Sometimes when I'm pushing, I use the back side of the rake and it helps quite a bit. And then I am going around making sure that the angle is still right where the tree is at the highest point of this circle. And you can see I'm tap, tap, tapping. I'm trying to get all that soil to fall in. Again, trying to fill in all those air pockets. I want to make sure that the root ball is making contact with the side of the hole. Now that the tree's in the ground, you've guessed it, it's watering time. We gotta water that puppy in. Probably planting the fruit tree at the appropriate height, not planting it too deep, is the single most important aspect of having a successful tree long term. My personal opinion is that these watering steps during the transplant process is the second most important thing that you can do to set the tree up for success. I don't like to cut out any of the film of me watering, but I do speed it up at 3 times speed. I just want to give you guys an idea of how much I'm actually watering this tree in. As long as the water continues to drain relatively easily, you haven't overdone it. Part of the high and tight method is to kind of stomp around the tree. This will reveal any gaping air pockets that might have been missed so that you can take care of them now as opposed to them becoming a problem later. My camera overheated, so you guys didn't get to see me mulching everything in, but I did add a bag and a half maybe of that mulch, and again I angle everything to where the tree is at the highest point. And I don't add a lot of mulch around the root flare, but there is thick layers of mulch around the edges.